Hi, Melissa.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Good. We will just give it another couple minutes just to see if anyone else pops on here.
Yeah, that's fine.
How's your week going?
Oh, it's going. It's crazy, but it's going.
Good.
Yeah, it was a crazy weekend and crazy yesterday, but hopefully it'll calm down a little bit today.
Yep. I definitely can relate. I'm just going to grab my glasses real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I'm going to share my screen. Hi, Tammy. Sorry in advance for my cat, you guys. She is loud and proud. Here we go. How's it going, Tammy? I think you might be muted, but I think you said you're good. How are you doing?
I am good. I think I muted myself again. I did. But no, I was just saying my husband and I would normally go out to lunch once a week, and today was the day. And I was like, oh, we can get back, but we go out about 11. So we're usually in good shape. But I said, wow, we were a little longer than we normally are.
Yeah. It was all good. All right. We're a few minutes past. We can go ahead and get started. Hopefully we have some other people pop on throughout, but some really good content today. I really wanted to do a class on leads, listing, and leverage, just because I've been having a lot of conversations with the leadership team in terms of just like bringing it back to the basics with business and just really simplifying. A lot of the agents in my coaching program are newer, and I think especially like in the beginning, it's easy to feel super overwhelmed. And then as you transition, maybe continuously feel overwhelmed, because obviously the bigger your business grows, the more you have on your plate. And I really think it's important to kind of bring it back to the basics sometimes and just be able to refocus a little bit. So realistically, these three things are the pillars of your business. These are the three things that you are going, essentially in terms of goals, what you want to reach. So initially, like with leads, you don't really have a business if you don't have any leads. And then in terms of having leads, once you get enough leads, you're going to want to focus on listings, because that really opens up your time in order to be able to leverage a little bit more, and then leveraging your time overall so that you're spending less time on the things that are not money-making activities, but they're still getting done so that you can grow and leverage your business scalably to the size that you want it to be. So I'm sure you both have heard somewhat of the 80-20 rule. So we're going to chat about that a little bit, and then how that relates to the 3 L's. So based on the MREA model, realistically, Gary says that with the 80-20 rule, 80% of our results come from 20% of our actions, and vice versa. So 20%, we really want to be focusing on that 20% of our business that creates the 80% of the outcomes that we're looking for. And it's really easy to be able to get kind of sidetracked or focus on the things that are not our money-making activities in particular. And so kind of honing in on that 20% really consists of these 3 L's, leads, listings, and leverage. So we're going to dive a little bit more into that. But overall, like the 80-20 rule is more so referred to as like the achievement formula. And it's like that in any business. There's going to be a few core things that you're going to want to do and focus on a daily basis that help you get to a point of being able to leverage your business in general. So it does note too, and I wanted to kind of like mention, there's a quote in the MREA that says like, doing a lot of things doesn't substitute for doing the right things. And I think we all know like what those right things are, right? In terms of like lead generation, figuring out like what are the things that work for us in our business to help grow our business. But a lot of those things, especially at the beginning, are not the things that are comfortable. And they're not necessarily the things that we like want to spend our time doing. And it's really easy to get sidetracked, especially throughout your day. There are so many things that get thrown at us in our schedules. It's really hard sometimes to actually maintain like our time blocking schedule, or just spend the time focusing on the 20% that you need to be making sure encompasses like every single day, regardless of what time you can do it. Obviously, the KW model is lead generating from like 9 to 11. Honestly, if you can spend 1 hour a day being like proactive in your business and lead generating, that's going to get you to like reach goals fast. Because can you imagine in 1 hour a day, that's 5 hours a week, how many conversations you can have with people in 5 hours in a week? And they don't even have to be like phone calls. Obviously that's probably the easiest or like quickest way to actually build relationships and like speak with someone. But it can be as simple as like sending a text message or sending a direct message on Facebook,
Right.
or sending an email. There's so many different ways now that we can communicate with people and reach out that we really have no excuse to like not be lead generating throughout our day.
Casie, I have a question, and
Yeah, of course.
and I hope you're okay with me asking questions throughout this, because
100%. Yeah.
I've been in the business 5 years, and the one thing I have truly missed, and I'm totally transparent about this, is lead gen, is really how to lead gen. And I'm not one that's very upfront and in your face. That's just not who I am.
Yep.
But what I am is very laid back, subtle, but those subtle hits tend to get me the buyers. How can I shift to really look at those leads for listings, as this, training is geared toward, so that I'm a little more productive in those areas?
Sure. I think that lead generation in general, so we can go over like the 4 things that you should do on a daily basis or a weekly basis to get to where you want to be. So overall, in terms of leads, I'm going to go to I have a few things about leads here and listings, so we'll kind of just like hop around with this. So realistically, there's 4 ways of like lead generating that should be like the core of your proactive time or like your lead generation. So generally speaking, and I actually met with CJ yesterday on this just because we thought it was like really, really important to kind of hone in on like, what are those like very simple things that are easily attainable, that don't take like so much effort that agents aren't going to want to do them. And how do we implement those into someone's schedule? So the 4 things, generally speaking, are lead generating or having like proactive lead time for 1 hour a day, Monday through Friday. The second thing is doing like 1 social media post every day. And it doesn't have to be about real estate. It can be about anything. Just like staying top of mind for people and staying present, because inherently, like naturally, the more you're in front of people, the more they're going to notice you being in front of them, and the more they're going to look into it. Like when you start seeing someone on Facebook pop up like all the time, do you usually like check them out?
Yep.
And so you don't even have to like actively market that you're a real estate agent. People will figure it out. And the more you're posting, even if like 2 or 3 of your posts throughout the week are like, check out this article on the Lakewood housing market, or like, the market's starting to shift back to more of a balanced buyer's market, and this is fantastic. Or, holy cow, there was 56 coming soons listed yesterday. Like, it could be anything. Post a picture if you thought your cat was like super cute today. Cool.
Okay. Okay.
Like anything. It could literally be anything. The whole point of posting on social media is like just to get your face out there, get your name out there, so people are seeing you regularly and associating you with being a real estate agent, since some of your posts will be related to real estate. The third thing generally is open houses. And I think that's something that a lot of agents have a tendency to get away from, with the more experience they get and the busier they get. But I think that open houses are huge opportunity for both buyer leads and seller leads. Obviously, a lot of buyers that come in, and especially right now in the market that we're in, with such a shortage of inventory, open houses are gold. Like, so every open house that I heard that was held last weekend had at least like 10 to 15 minimum people show up.
Right.
That's like 10
I heard
to 15,
that too.
yeah, that's like 10 to 15 people that you can put into your database. That's like easy conversations. You already know they're looking. I actually stopped by an open house last weekend down the street because one of my house like 2 streets down went up for sale, and I popped in, and I was in there for maybe 5 minutes. 4 other couples popped in, or like groups, 2 of which, when the agent asked them if they have a real estate agent, said no.
Wow.
And one of them said that they have to buy, but they also have to sell first.
Mm.
So there's a seller.
That's perfect. Yes.
Yep. So it's like,
I
as
had
much as
one.
sorry, go ahead.
I had an open house scheduled this weekend. This house has been up and down. I've had it since June on the market.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the open house was Sunday at 1. I was doing it with Becky, and
It went under contract.
it went under contract. And I canceled the showing, but it still showed on Zillow. And somebody called me and said there were 15 to 20 cars in the driveway.
Yep. She said she
Wow.
over there and told people that
show up.
Yeah. Yep. She said people still showed up. I had my group session at 11. So she had
yeah. She told me she was getting on there. But yeah, I was thinking afterwards, like I should have just held it anyways.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
You know?
even if it goes under contract, 100% hold it anyways, because people are still going to come by, and you could just say like, it went under contract last minute. The change wasn't going to reflect in Zillow. And I still wanted people to be able to come, at least get a contact and some information about the community.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. I canceled it. And I was like, after that call, I was like, well, dang.
All those buyer leads. There's always the next one though.
Right.
But yeah, it's a massive opportunity. And I know a lot of people too. One thing I encourage in the program also is, I know a lot of agents are very intimidated in regards to door knocking. So like not even necessarily door knocking. The rule of thumb for that, for like an open house, is like take the hour before the open house, and do like 10 across and 5 on each side of the property. And literally just say, and I think more experienced agents are more comfortable doing this kind of thing because you're already more so used to like having conversations like this. But even just knocking on their door, introducing yourself and saying, I just wanted to let you know that I'm holding an open house from 1 to 3 today. And I just wanted to personally invite you over there. I know a lot of, neighbors are curious what the insides of like their neighbors' houses look like. So if you want to pop in, I'd be happy to have you join me. And like bring information in terms of like listing or like community information about how quickly homes are selling for, or like the comps in the area, something to be able to give them just in case they're considering selling too. If you're not comfortable with like doing door knocking, you could always do like pop-by bags the day before. And like Amazon has like just like little cute clear bags that have a hole at the top for a door handle, since we're not allowed to like touch mailboxes really.
Right.
Has a cute little thing so you can hang it on their door. Just order like some postcards off of Vistaprint that say, I'd like to personally invite you to my open house, and with blank spaces that say like from blank to blank at whatever the address is. So you can just write it in, stick it in the bag with like a cookie or something, or like some candy, and leave it on their door the day before so that they have time to get it for the next day. And then you don't even have to like actually, that's super quick. You can drop a lot of those in like a half hour. So just something like that, but utilizing open houses at least like once or twice a month is a huge way to start building your business, and building your pipeline. And our rule of thumb generally, like the first goal with agents getting into the business, which I'm sure you both already know, the first thing that you want to do is make sure that your command database has enough people in it. Like our rule of thumb generally is try to get 100 contacts in your command database as soon as you possibly can. Because those
that's that's something that I'm learning how to do again. Leaving for the 6 months that I was gone and then coming back, I forgot how valuable command was.
Yeah.
In keeping me on track with putting those opportunities in my pipe, the contacts in number one, and then putting them in as a potential opportunity, to build on that, to make sure that I follow up with them. That was so huge.
It is. It's so nice to be able to have that resource. CRMs are like lifesavers, literally. It takes the guesswork out of what you have to be doing on a daily basis within your business. Like if you could literally just wake up, how easy does it sound to like wake up, get into your CRM and know exactly who you have to touch base with that day?
Mm-hmm.
It takes the guesswork out of being like, how do I lead generate today? How do I work in my business? Who do I need to call? So yeah, it's a huge resource to tap into. Next week, actually next Tuesday at 1:00, Irene Molnar is going to be doing a class on, how to use smart plans at like a really high level.
Oh,
so
great.
I highly recommend attending that class just because she is really great. Really great with smart plans, and she'll be sharing a lot of what she does and how she finds her success in that. So yeah, and then the fourth thing is mail outs. Even if you do like write 5 letters a day, or like send out 5 postcards a day, even if you do like monthly. A lot of agents are doing like recipes. Like March, at the beginning of the month, you could spend like the first 2 weeks sending out sorry, my phone's ringing. You could a postcard that has like a St. Patrick's Day recipe on it with your information. People might keep it. Or even just ordering like sports calendars, or notepads that you can put like the little, like I order these because they don't expire, like sports calendars. If you don't give them away, you just throw them out because you can't use them again. But if you like order something like that, where you can literally just send out 5 a week to people in your database, past clients, referrals, businesses, anywhere. That kind of just keeps you front and center. And if you send to the same, even, so what, 25 a week, that's 100 people a month. If you send to the same 100 people every month, and those could be all the people that are on your list of 100 that you put in command, those people are going to be seeing your face, if not on social media, through mail outs that they're getting from you regularly every month. And so not even considering like when they are planning on buying and selling, but maybe their like sister wants to buy a house, or maybe their brother-in-law needs to sell his house and relocate. So it's really good, like not just for that like direct person, but staying top of mind for everybody that they know too, that they can potentially refer to you. And then just kind of keeping in mind, like your database is your business. 80% of your command database is going to be your sphere, most likely, on average. But are you guys familiar with like the 6-1 rule?
No, I haven't heard that.
So a lot of people say like the 12-2, but so basically it's for every 6 people you have in your database, 1 is going to eventually turn into a client or referral. So at that point, it's really just a numbers game. So like once you reach your 100, do an open house every month, just once a month, and add like an extra 10 people that way. Or like from your mail outs, you can get people's information online. What I recommend to people usually is like if you do door knocking for like open houses or like drops, keep those addresses because they've already seen you once, right? If you've like either had a conversation with them or you've personally dropped off something the day before, keep a running spreadsheet of the properties that you've already dropped at. And then just continuously drop there too. Get their information offline. You can get their first and last name at the minimum and their address.
Okay.
And a lot of, I don't know if you guys have access to like HomeSnap, but
Yes.
a lot of people's like phone numbers and stuff are on there too. A lot of them are on the do not call list. And it will show you if they are. It's like a red thing that says do not call next to their phone number. But if it doesn't have that on there, then it's fair game. But that's a really great way too to kind of, have you heard of heat maps?
No.
So if you have the upgraded version, which I think they were doing like a $99 promo instead of like $500 or $600 for the year for COVID, I highly recommend investing the $100 to look into heat maps because you can do a search in any area that'll show you based on color, like red. I think it's red, yellow, and green. Who is like most likely to sell, and then who's likely to sell, and then who's not likely to sell.
I got that at the end of the year,
Mm-hmm.
but I haven't figured out how to use the heat maps yet.
There are, I know that the MLS like does classes on how to use the app, like
Okay.
at like a really, really high level. I know that there's a ton. I haven't taken the class. I should, because there's definitely a lot of resources on there that can be really helpful with like lead generation.
And that's through the MLS holds those?
Yep.
Yeah, because that's why I signed up. It had all these different things. And the heat map was one of the reasons why I signed up for it. And then I went into it and I couldn't figure out how to make it work.
Yeah, if you
That's okay. I can go into the MLS and look and see when their training is.
Yeah, it's super easy. Honestly, if you just go to like the search map, you can change it. I don't know why my app's not opening. Okay, if you just go to for sale and then filter all homes, I believe. The top one says likelihood to list, and you can click on most likely, likely, or least likely, and it'll highlight those properties for you.
Okay, wait, sorry, say that again. Go to homes.
Yep, so if you go to all homes, there should be like a button on the map that pops up that's blue, orange, and yellow that says likelihood to list.
Oh, I see.
And then you can click like the orange and yellow.
Yeah, I see it. Okay. Well, darn. Now I know how it works. I've only been missing this for the last however many months, right? So good though.
But progress moving forward.
Cool. Well, I'll have to play with it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, and then just like lead generating, despite what you have going on in your current business, is super important. That was something that we were talking about this morning. I think we all have a tendency, like when we start getting really, really busy with the clients that we have going right now, we have a tendency to become a little bit more lax with lead generating because we're like, we're good. Or like, I'm so busy, I don't have time for it. And
Right.
that is generally the time that we're going to end up seeing like a roller coaster of business coming in because realistically, like the lead generating and work that you're putting into prospecting right now, you're going to see the effects of that in the next 30 to 60 days. It's pretty rare to see anything like result wise before that because a lot of it just takes consistency and follow up. So in terms of like, if you say you have a few deals going on and you're super busy and you're not lead generating, just try to keep in mind, like after those deals close, you're going to end up having to start completely over with your lead generation, and you might not have another closing for another couple months if you're not actively prospecting while you're in the midst of working in your current business. And generally speaking too, the whole purpose of having your business like kind of blow up like that and get super busy is so that you can get to the point of your business being big enough and you being busy enough that you can hire someone and leverage and take some of the things off your plate that are not like actively your money making activities. I think that a lot of real estate agents get into the business because they really, really love the relationship building side of it, but don't necessarily love like the paperwork side of it. I think I'd say probably like a good 80% of agents are not a huge fan of the paperwork, the filing, having to do your own opportunities. So even getting to a point where like, if you were closing like 4 to 6 transactions a month, would you feel comfortable paying a transaction coordinator $250 a deal to handle all of your paperwork and process?
Yes.
100%.
Absolutely. That's my goal, is to get to that 4 to 6 deal a month so that I can pass that off to, a John Sharp or whoever,
And it might really suck in the meantime, like just to be honest, like getting through like those first couple months where it's like you're super busy, but you're still trying to make time for lead generation. But once you're consistently having those closings scheduled out, that's the point where you're going to feel comfortable enough to be like, I can afford to spend $1,000 this month instead of making 16 and open up an extra like 10 hours each week. Because taking that extra 10 hours each week is your leverage in terms of time to be able to continue building your business and getting more clients because you have more time for that relationship stuff. It's kind of like a catch-22, like what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Like, what's more important, time or money? And at different points in your business, different things are going to be your priority. But it really is important to make sure that you're lead generating, even when you're getting a little bit busier, even if it's for an hour a day. Like I know our standard practice is 2, even if you can spend an hour a day. CJ told me, like shared a statistic with me yesterday that I was not aware of previously. Essentially, like in terms of lead generation, agents that lead generate 3 hours a week, their income ends up equating to on average about $70,000 a year. Agents that lead generate for 6.9 hours a week, their income ends up being closer to 250,000.
Wow, that's a huge number. That's a huge jump.
It's a huge jump for what, like twice the amount of calls, and that's literally 1 hour a day, 7 days a week instead of 5 days a week, or 3 days a week. So it's like that little bit of extra work and like dedication to lead generation is like makes a huge difference in your end numbers and end goals at the end of the year. So in terms of like staying focused on the 20%, because like I said, it's really, really easy to get sidetracked. So goal to action, focusing on the 20% in your day. Basically, it's really important. So the 20% needs to happen first. That needs to be like your bread and butter, like the things that you focus on 100% of the time, always during your week. And then everything else coming after that. So writing down like your key goals and your action steps to achieving them. So say it's like your proactive time for 1 hour, one social media post, which should take like less than 10 minutes for you to create and post if you're like creating a graphic or something. There's so many available on like Command, or if you do your own in Canva, once you get used to like being able to act like quickly do it. They're really easy to do because there's templates and you can just change the colors and the words and put our logo on it and call it a day. And then just like scheduling your open house, making sure that's done, and then writing out your 5 cards. So for example, those are your 20% for the day. And then in your calendar, allocate time in your personal calendar for those 20%. So whatever time that works for you in your day. And then after that, if time permits in your day, getting the other 80% tasks done after the 20%. So realistically, you're going to want some kind of like planner or some kind of like daily calendar that puts it all together on one sheet of paper to help you maximize where your focus should be, and actually prioritizing what those like more important items are, and then what can come later pending time and availability. Does anyone have any questions about either of those things?
No, but I created a Google Sheet for myself that's like a to-do list that has like I number them, and then I put them like in that kind of order for 1, 2, or 3. Like most important has to get done today. You know, 2s and 3s you can put off a little bit, but that's helped me a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's really easy, especially when you're making that, like, I guess overall your 100% list, like the 20% and the 80%. It clarifies it in your head a little bit more, I think, number wise, or like one thing previously my mom had taught me to do was like write down everything I needed to do in that week.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that has sticky notes everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just writing down, like have it either a piece of paper, like have your one big list, and then write down like your 20% of the things that have to happen every day, and then the remainder of the things that are left, put those into each day priority wise. If it's something that doesn't need to get done until Friday, but you have like 3 things that have to get done on Monday, space it out. And then that way you know exactly what you need to accomplish each day. And it makes it way, way easier to like not feel like you're not accomplishing what you need to. Because I think too, in terms of like priority lists and like to-do lists, it can definitely get overwhelming. Like how many times have you written out a list and you're like, this is so long that I feel like even if I get 3 out of these 15 things done, you feel like you didn't do anything. You feel so unaccomplished by the end of your day.
Some days, but you know what helps me is like, so once I'm done with those things that I have on my list, I mark them completed and I change them a different color. So at the end of the week, I can see what I completed versus what I have pending, which is started or whatever, versus what I haven't done at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I think color coding it too, that is helpful. I do the same kind of thing. So I actually use my notes app, and you can put check boxes, circle boxes on your to-do list. And as you do it and you check it, it brings it up to the top. So you can see like what you did in that week. And even if you make like a weekly one, it's so easy to track them.
Yeah.
And then if anything pops up like throughout the week that you need, and you can even do like Monday and then your checklist, Tuesday and your checklist. And if you decide you want to move something, then move it. But like, I think that it's way more attainable and like motivating to be able to get through most of the things in your day because you spaced them out appropriately than to think or feel like you need to do like every single thing in one day. I think it makes it really easy to get discouraged. So moving on to listings. So listings, realistically, it's the high leverage, maximum earning opportunity. It helps your business in so many ways to focus on listings and kind of shift gears and work with sellers rather than buyers. Listings make the business, and the signs are the best source of leads. So basically having your sign in someone's yard to market their property is the best way for someone to see your information. It's one of the most likely as well, because you're going to be seeing, they're seeing your name, they're seeing your company, they're seeing that you're already working with other sellers and that you're experienced in doing that. They're not going to sit there and wonder, like, is this the first listing that you've ever had in your business? Clearly not. So it's critical to build your business to the highest level with the lowest cost and the highest net. So basically, listings are leverage within themselves. And there's so many different ways to benefit in terms of working with listings instead of buyers. But generally speaking, you want to be working smarter, not harder. And when you're working with listings, that leverages your time and it leverages your resources. You're spending way less time listing a property than you are driving around showing, especially in this market, house after house after house, writing offer after offer after offer, and not getting anywhere because everything's going into multiples and it's so competitive for buyers. Resource wise as well, you're not spending as much money. Think about, in terms of working with buyers, how much gas you have to spend on like one client in particular, even just one client, not all of them. Time wise, things that you could be doing with that time otherwise to be growing and leveraging your business. How much extra time would you get back in a week if you were working with a seller instead of a buyer?
Mm-hmm. I'm
And
learning that. I really am.
it's tough.
I'm
It's a
exhausted.
tough market, for
I'm
sure.
exhausted. Yeah.
I mean, that's hours in your week that you could be dedicating to lead generation and building your business instead of driving.
Yes.
Our listings
Yep.
are huge.
They really are.
A huge time saver for sure.
Yep. And so just to kind of like go over virtues of listings, like the benefits of having listings instead of working with buyers, marketing opportunities. So obviously you get your sign in the yard. It also gives you the opportunity to do like email marketing and direct mail. And then any other kind of advertising that you want to do, whether it's like a Facebook ad or social media marketing, open houses, obviously. It gives you, there's so many other opportunities to market yourself with sellers than working with buyers. You have more control over your time. You can maximize your per hour compensation. So per transaction, you're spending a lot less time in that transaction or with that client generally. And so realistically, if you break down what your commission is going to be over that time, you're going to be getting paid more per hour. You can increase your volume because with the extra time, you can take more listings, which then increases your sales. Better market knowledge. So essentially when you're working in the market and actively pricing properties, people, I guess, could consider you a little bit more of like a market expert because you're actively the agent that is pricing those out. And then it brings more business. I can't remember if I was talking about this earlier, if I mentioned it here, but like when you're thinking of like, I did mention it here, when you're thinking of like holding an open house, how many buyer leads can you get? And even if you don't want to work with buyers, passing them off for a referral, then you're still getting 25% of a sale when they close and you've literally done nothing with them. It's like easy money. And then you can focus on listings, or even if you work with them to list their house and then partner up with another agent for them to work with them to buy. And then you're still leveraging your time. And you could always double end it too. If you're holding open houses, especially for your listing, you could always find a buyer. It's not impossible. I've seen actually quite a few. I know it's not the purpose of an open house to sell it at the open house. It's more so to get buyer leads, but I've seen it happen quite a few times where someone from the open house ends up buying the house. So rather than making a 3-4, you could be making a 6.
Hey, Michelle.
Hey, Patty, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
So it brings more business. And then,
I feel like, am I muted?
nope, you're good.
I lost my screen. I feel like with open houses, so I've been in real estate for, I'm on my 7th year. And I feel like people that come into open houses, you're more apt to sell them if you get them as your buyer, a different house than that house actually, than the actual house that they went to look at.
Yeah. I think it's hard. I feel like 50% of people like have agents already. The other 50%, I think a lot of it's just about like follow-up and letting them know that like, even if you're not interested in this property, generally speaking, it is in your best interest to have one real estate agent that you're working with, just because they can get to know a little bit more about what you're looking for in particular. So if anything pops up, you can be the first one to see it and not lose any time and not have to like wait for open houses on the weekend. I'm absolutely happy to schedule private showings for you based on your schedule and availability, just so we can get you in quick and hopefully it's a little bit less competitive at that point.
Right.
And just having like some information, I mean, obviously I'm sure you do, having just information, marketing yourself too, something that they can take with them even like I always bring like I showed you these little things with my information on them. They're going to hang that on their fridge until they're done with it. And then when they're done with it, there's actually on the back like a house passwords page. And then on the other side, it's like kitchen conversions chart.
Oh yeah.
So there's like a 50% chance that they'll keep it
They're
even
not
after
gonna
they're
throw it
done.
away anyways. Yeah.
Yep. So
See,
something
I've
that
done really bad. I work with one investor who, I mean, he is a majority of my business. So he's a majority of my listings and a majority of my sales. So I
Yeah.
feel like, and I have 5 kids at home. Well, I did. So I feel like I lost track of the contacting everybody and keeping up with everybody and all of that. You know, when people would come to me as far as referrals or whatever, obviously I would take them. But as far as my follow-up, that's where I have lacked huge. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to pick that all back up again.
It's hard to kind of reestablish that, and I get it. Like I've been there. It is so follow up is hard. It's like because
I'm the worst at it.
you actively have to like schedule your like prospecting and then also schedule time for follow up.
Yeah.
And maybe instead of doing like prospecting 2 hours a day, do like prospecting for one, or like proactive time, and then do follow up with current leads for an hour after that.
Right.
Just so you're still like consistently staying like in front of those people too. But that's also another really great reason I think to utilize Command and the smart plans, because it pretty much does that work for you. You don't have to like wonder if there's anyone that like kind of went under your radar.
That's what I need to get up, like set up. Like I don't even have all my clients into Command. Like that's what I'm working on. And I've never really used it, but I've
Yeah.
always relied I've been with this investor for the last 3 years. So I basically relied on him. But, you know, if he decides not to do this anymore, then I have nothing.
Yeah.
And then
And so start small.
I
Honestly,
really start from scratch, you
yeah.
know?
I would just start that now, just in case.
That's what I'm trying to get myself to do every day is reach out to people and, you
Yeah.
know,
And just give yourself like a tangible number, even if it's like calling or like inputting 5 people a day.
that's what I have right now
Yeah.
is I'm trying to get 5 people in my database every single day. But
Yep.
like I posted yesterday about Divvy homes. I've sold those and it was one of those off groups. Somebody was asking about rent or lease to own or whatever.
Yeah.
And I commented and I responded, I don't know to how many yesterday. And then right before this meeting, I was going back and forth with people for probably about an hour. So that's part of the, you know, entering all those people into my database and doing all that as well.
Yeah. Yep. I think just consistency with that, you will start seeing and getting people responding. Just doing like those small things every day.
But I do have a question for you. And I talked to Becky earlier about it. I don't know if she talked to you about it at all, but I have a neighbor who has a rental that they're looking to sell. I can't get into it until June to see because the people move out at the end of May. But he wants an idea of like what it's worth. So when people comment or like I want to do some kind of ad through Command because I've never done it, so I want to try it through Command.
Yeah.
You know, do you know what your house is worth? If I told you I had a buyer for your house, would you sell it today? Like, how do you know without seeing their house? How do you give them comps?
I usually give them
With
a
them
range.
being accurate.
Yeah, I'll usually give them a range based on like condition of comparable properties. So I'll pull comps on their address, and I'll look and see what has sold that is similar, that is in like not great condition, and then amazing condition, like fully renovated if there's both types.
Sorry, my clock is going off.
And then I try to give them a range of like, you know, obviously I can't give you like a spot on number without actively seeing your property like in person, but generally speaking, based off of the comps in your neighborhood, you know, homes that don't have a lot of updates, and maybe need a little bit of like, some small updates could be listed closer to like 140. But depending on the updates that you've done, I've seen homes that have been fully renovated that are comparable properties also that are listed up to 180. So it really just depends on the condition and updates in your property. When would be a good time for me to stop by and take a look so I can give you a better idea of what I think you should, what price range I think you should list it in?
Okay. So you give them, you can give that, you do give them that $40,000 variable.
Or whatever it is. I mean, it might be
Right.
like,
Okay.
yep, I do, because it's so hard to actively price their house. And even when I do like create listing presentations, you know how sometimes it'll have like, depending on what program you use, I would recommend pricing your home at the blank price point.
Mm-hmm.
I put the range in there too.
Yeah. Yeah. I've struggled with that too. And that's kind of like, I don't know. I hate going on listing appointments just because I feel like without seeing the property, I'm not prepared,
Yeah.
So maybe because people want that pinpointed price. So maybe if I do put that range in, then my brain is more functioning around, okay, I'm between 140 and 180. Are
Yep.
they the high end of that or are they the low end of that?
And it might be helpful too. So like two things with that. Keep in mind that like we don't really price their property, they do. So they could want to price it on the high end just because they feel like with their emotional attachment to this home that they've like
Mhm.
loved it for so long, but everything could be like 30 years old.
Yeah. Well,
But
and
they just like maintained it. And so it's hard to kind of gauge it there. And also, I find it to be a really helpful practice to, you know how in the MLS you can print out like buy or full with pictures,
Mhm.
print out the comps from there with the pictures. And so you can actively show them what the interior condition of these other properties are. And like say you bring like 5 and say like out of these 5, which 2 would you say condition wise are most similar to your property?
Okay.
And have them pick,
Yeah.
because then that makes it really easy for you to price it based off of the comps, even if they have a different number in their head. So you can
Right.
easily say, well, these are the 2 that you picked. The condition is pretty similar in terms of like what we're working with your home. So overall, I would really highly encourage starting at a listing price that is comparable to these in this
Yeah.
somewhere in this range.
Well, and I mean, I just did one for it was a referral, but I've sold to him, I've sold to his mom, his aunt, his sister. Um, and I told him, like, without seeing the house, low end, just by kind of what you told me, low end, we're looking at, say, 175. But that can go up from there based off of, when I get a chance to come look at the house.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I'm not too far off.
Mm-mm. Nope. And it's okay to give a range because there's really no way for us like to know without seeing it in person.
Right.
Because someone could say, I mean, someone that doesn't see houses as frequently as we do, someone could say like, my house is like so nice and updated, and we get there and they think that like a 10-year-old kitchen is like brand new.
Right.
And it's like any buyer that comes in is going to say this is still outdated.
Right.
So yeah, I wouldn't be too hard on yourself, honestly, in terms of like not giving a specific price. I always give a range,
Okay.
honestly, just because I don't want to give a price and then get there and have to go back on it.
Well, and that's what, my neighbor for this rental they don't want to sell it as a rental. They just want to sell it outright. And I'm like, it is so hard for me to not go in there and see it
Mm-hmm.
and give you an accurate number. So I can give you, here's a guesstimate. And then in June, we're going to have to tweak it once I get in there and see, and then pending, if you guys are going to make any changes to the house
Yep.
before you list it and all of that kind of thing. So,
I
okay.
always ask for like a pre-listing appointment with them too, if they'll let you in. I would just say like, I would really love to just see it in person so that if there's anything that I think that might get you a bigger return that isn't like a costly update or fix, I think it would be helpful for me to be able just to do like a really quick walkthrough just to see the
They want
property.
me to, yeah, they want me to do that. He asked me to do that anyway, but it's his uncle that is selling the house and he's my neighbor. And We talk about the market and everything all the time, but so yeah, he does. Since I'm knowledgeable, he wants me to go in and take a look at it beforehand and say, is it worth fixing, this to increase market value or whatever, because they're willing to make some of the repairs pending what they are.
Yeah. Yep. So I definitely think that that's a good idea too. And then I think that commits them to you a little bit more so as well, just
Yeah.
because at that point you've already been there. They've already they feel like they've already taken your time to get a better idea. And then they're also trusting that you're going to be like honest with them about how they can get the most return too. So they're going to be, a little bit more invested in
Right.
making sure that they stay with you as well until
Okay.
June.
Thank you.
Of course. And then in terms, we'll just move on to leverage real quick. So that's basically like the who, how, and what of real estate. Essentially like having people work on your business and in your business with you, like I said earlier, helps leverage your time tremendously so that you can continue on like the growth of your business generally. So when you're doing the first two L's right, so when you're lead generating and having listings, when you're doing those two at a very high level and like super effectively, it really leaves you no choice but to have to leverage at a certain point. Like I said, like, wouldn't it be nice to have like 4 to 6 closings a month? And then you don't have to you're not as worried about investing in hiring someone to help with certain things in your business. And just kind of like making sure that you're leading with revenue too. So how I said earlier, it is going to probably like stink a little bit for the first couple months to get that momentum and like consistency going to where you can see actively like your deals closing 4 to 6 deals or however many your goal is over the next like 2 to 3 months. And making sure that like when you look at your active client pipeline, that you have enough business coming up that you can afford having help or leveraging. So going and using like the red light, green light method is really, really helpful. And that's basically just like not adding anything expense wise to your business until you either need it or are able to. And when you add expenses, it's kind of like hiring slow and firing fast. If you add an expense to your business and you're not seeing a direct correlation in terms of that investment, providing, I'm like totally blanking on a word in my brain. If you're not seeing like a return on investment initially, you need to like stop that expense and reconsider how it is going to be helping your business. It's kind of like hiring an administrator and them not doing the things that they committed to and or are supposed to be doing on a daily basis. So you're paying someone that's not actively helping enhance your business and you're not getting a return. You're not actively able to see your business benefiting from this expense. At that point, you need to reassess if that's either the thing that you need in your business or the person that you need in your business. There's a quote in the MREA too. It's along the lines of like, in terms of like hiring the right people. So it's like, when you hire someone bad, someone good seems great. But when you hire someone great, someone good seems not as good. So it's like really making sure that when you're hiring somebody that you're actively identifying like what the needs are in your business and making sure that you are taking the time to make sure that the person that you're hiring for that role in itself is the right person for that role. Because eventually, if it's not, it's going to take more time and resources for you to try to find someone else to replace them. So utilizing leverage generally, who's going to do it? People, obviously. How are they going to do it? They're going to utilize and implement new systems within your business to help streamline. And then what do they do it with? They're going to use the tools that are available or any other outside tools that you might need in terms of being able to implement these systems too. When you're wanting to start leveraging your business, there generally is an order to keep in mind. Obviously, if it's your business, so you can hire how you see fit in terms of what your specific needs are. But generally speaking, overall, the first thing that you're going to want to hire is some kind of administrator, whether it's a transaction coordinator to just like kind of take some of the paperwork time off your plate, or a marketing admin or manager, a listing manager, a telemarketer, a lead coordinator, so someone to like follow up with your leads, more so like an ISA, an assistant, or some kind of like runner, to do like random things for you, like drop yard, yard signs, lock boxes, print things, drop stuff off, basically, that are like time consuming for you. And then moving on to like buyer lead specialists, so that you can focus on listings and then give your buyer leads to this person. So buyer lead specialist, buyer specialist, or showing agents. Hiring a showing agent, honestly, is a game changer. Like, I had previously hired showing assistants and pay them 10% just to show. And that's their sole job. I still do contracts. I still do contract close. I still do inspection unless I can't. And then I pay them like $50 an inspection. But having someone take that part of your business away, showings are so time consuming. Like I said, especially right now. So being able to utilize someone like that is huge. And then the third thing that you're going to want to do is hiring like a lead listing specialist and listing specialists. Just, it depends on kind of how you want to structure that. So if you want to be focusing on your listings, obviously you're going to want to stick with having like a buyer's agent or 2 buyer's agents. But if you get to the point where there's so many listings that you yourself cannot handle them, even with an administrator, then at that point, you're going to want to hire a listing specialist to work with you. And that is generally all the content I have for today. But I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have, or if there's anything else that you wanted to chat about, we can definitely chat.
So Casie, I do have a question.
Yeah.
To do more coaching, the coaching that you are definitely in place to do for us. What does that look like? Because this is, I can find buyers all day long. And I probably have about 12 that I'm running right now. So I'm exhausted. The cancel, especially in this market, nowadays it's like, cancellations, and you're managing that flow. As Kate and I have started to map out the listing side, Tammy, you've been in the business 5 years. It's time for you to pivot and become more of a listing agent. What does that, that mentorship, that coaching look like for KW Living for me? If I decided, Casie, I want to do this.
Yeah. So basically what it is, there is either a 12-month or capping commitment generally. If you decide that you don't want to be in the program anymore, you basically just finish out the tier that you're in, and then you can hop right out. Basically, there are 4 tiers in the program. So tier 1 is agents with 0 to 3 transactions closed. And you don't have to write any of this down. I can actually send you like a flyer with all the information. I'll send you a copy of the coaching commitment so you can review that. It just has all of the information in there probably that you would be most interested in knowing about the program itself. And then also like the training calendar that we have too.
Okay.
So there, just generally speaking, there's 4 tiers, 0 to 3 transactions, 4 to 6, and then 7 to capping. The first tier is free. So the market center pays the 10% to the program. And then tiers 2 and 3. So after your 3rd transaction, so your 4th transaction through your capping, the market center splits at 5 and 5% because we wanted to make sure that it's super affordable. And it's not something that we want to make sure that we're investing in the agents in our market center and giving them an opportunity to be able to utilize a program without it being super expensive. So overall, I guess generally speaking, just to break that down, like number wise, let's say a commission, like $200,000 sale on average is like $5,000. Paying 5% is $250. So it's not like there's no monthly fees otherwise. Nothing else. You only pay for the program when you have closings. Otherwise speaking, generally speaking, so once you cap, if you wanted to stay in the program more so for accountability, the 10% would then be paid by the agent just because the market center isn't bringing any income in to be able to contribute to that.
Understood.
But then when you reset, you can reset how you were the year before. And then, so generally speaking, we have 2 to 3 group sessions every week. Tuesday mornings at 11 are more so like an open forum. We started kind of transitioning that into talking about like the big 4. So like these 4 lead generating things that we talked about today. And then on Fridays, we have a different training topic every week. So I'll have a PowerPoint or a checklist that we go through. Like 2 weeks ago, we did listings, how to get listings, how to work with a listing agent, how to start a dot loop listing file, how to input into the MLS. Literally from like start to finish, we spent the whole hour going through how to work with sellers. Last week we did how to hold open houses. So in the Google Drive, basically for every training topic, you have a folder of resources. So whether it be a checklist, a PowerPoint, all of the above, things that you can utilize in your business to be able to like make sure that you're doing everything that you need to be doing for that specific thing. This Friday, we're talking about how to work with buyers from beginning to end. So every Friday at 11 o'clock is our training mastermind. And then we have alternating the second and fourth Thursday of every month, we do an evening group session. That's more so like open forum and like what's relevant in your business right now too. Agents come and they'll ask basically anything of like, how do I input a listing? How do I start a new .loop file? How do I utilize social media at a higher level? Like any question that you have that can help your business, bring it. And then initially when you onboard, I would send you a questionnaire just to get a better idea of like what your business looks like and what your goals look like for the rest of the year. And then we'll schedule a 60-minute onboarding one-on-one. And so basically during that time, we would go through all of the Google Drive documents and resources that are available through the program, and then also do a GPS for you. Which if you are doing one with Kate, we can just kind of go over to make sure that I'm familiar with what your goals are and then figure out how to implement those into your schedule.
Gotcha. And and part of it is because of course she's going to be going out with her little one, and yep. I'm thinking, how can I pivot a little bit, again, yeah. adjusting to what's happening, and of course continue down the path that she and I've already started. Yeah. And that's why, I said, well, maybe this would be something good, even though I'm a little more seasoned than, a new person coming in. But again, a refresher never hurts anyone. I'm all about education and, freshening, up my skills a little bit.
Absolutely. And I do send out too, like a weekly tracking sheet, just to see like what you have going on for the week, accountability wise. And then we do also have just like an overall prospecting tracking sheet each week too. And then there's other resources in terms of just like figuring out your time blocking. So there's a tentative time blocking template in there for you to figure out how, like, what looks best for you. And if you want help figuring out how to set your schedule in a way that works best for you, we can work on that together. So there's a ton of resources in there as well. And then every agent gets like a 30-minute one-on-one every month if they need it. So if you feel like something in your business just isn't working or something's not clicking, or you're just like not sure how to pivot in some way, we can sit down and just have a conversation and like brainstorm on different ideas that you can implement to help get you out of that. And then generally speaking, like if you have questions about like, you generally probably don't because you are a little bit more seasoned, but like if you ever have like a contract question or like a how do I handle this type of client question or anything like that, you're welcome to call or text me. Generally, like my coaching hours are 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, but if you're like showing houses and you're going to need like something later in the afternoon, just shoot me a text and say like, hey, can we schedule a call for like 6 o'clock? And like, that's fine. I'll make time for it, of course.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah.
So I'll send you information on it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Of course. Well, cool. I appreciate you both joining me today. I hope that you found this to be valuable for your business. And if there's anything that I can help with otherwise, or if you have any questions like at a later time, you're welcome to reach out. I'm always happy to help.
Thank you so much, Casie.
Can I ask one more quick question?
Yeah, of course.
Just following what you were just talking about. So it's your first 4 or 3 transactions. Is that for the year, or like I've already done 3 this year, but my cap starts over April 1st. So is it April 1st to April
Yep.
1st or January 1st to January 1st?
So it'll be your first 3 in the program.
Okay.
So if
okay.
you want to wait until your cap resets, so you're not paying the 10% because they just can't, if you're already capped, they can't pay the 10%.
No,
or the
I
5%.
haven't. No, I didn't cap, but I've done the 3 transactions already. This.
Oh yeah, no,
It's
you're good. If
January
you were to
1st.
join in, we would just put you in a higher tier. But realistically speaking, the first 3 transactions for anyone that joins, even if you already have closings, are free.
Okay. All right. Can you send me the information on that too, please?
Absolutely. I would love to.
Okay. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so
Thanks
very
so
much.
much. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.